What's up? My name is Carnage, and I'm here at East West Studios in Hollywood, California. Today I will show you how I like to make my 808s. This is how I make my 808s with my Razer blade. I have a couple of go-to 808s that I use since the beginning of when I first started making beats. So I have an 808 here that I got from an old pack. It's a really pretty basic, really toned 808 that I've ended up learning how to manipulate the shit out of. I've used it for all of my biggest tracks, this 808, and all of my festival trap stuff, my Spaceman remix that I did, that's one of my biggest songs. I used that. I use this for Incredible, my track with Borgore. I like to layer my kick with a short kick and also with the 808. So I would have just your kick right there. I end up usually taking out, so it just makes it smaller and tighter. So normal would be, you kind of hear the difference, a little smaller and sharper. Take down all the trim out of it so it spreads it out, tightens it up. Because a lot of times when you have an 808 and you don't take the trim out, there's like a space in the beginning. It just helps a lot, big time. When I was in the studio with Big Jerm a couple years ago, he taught me the levels adjustment, not just using the levels up here, but using like the levels, the volume here. It just adds a whole, I don't know what it does, it just makes everything just super louder. So compared to that it just really adds like a whole, it just makes it sound very, very, way more stronger. Have that, I put that in the EQ, and I kind of just raise that around here to make it a little sharper. Then also you can make it like hollower or just way more thumpier. But to really get a nice like top kick where it's like really crunchy, I like to just put it around here. Then I bring in the 808. As usual, you can see I'm using the Fruity Loops equalizer, which I've always used, and it's like one of my main EQs that I've always used for everything. I mean, it's a great EQ that Image Line has created. The 808 right here, I'm gonna put it on so you can hear a big difference. So without it would be, and with it, it brings the tone up a lot on the 808. So if you're making like a rap record and you want to make that really thumpier, tonal Zaytoven-ish type kick, you add a lot of tone to it, a lot of deeper, so it just sounds better when you play it on a lower octave. Real Zaytoven-ish. I made a pattern which is pretty simple with the top kick, then added with the bottom kick, so we'll have that with the 808, which is let's see. So I'll loop this. You hear a big difference. It's really like, and then after you have your top kick and your 808, you kind of just mess around depending on the instrument that you have above it, to really just find a pocket where the 808 kind of just, you can hear the tone of it very strong and it still has a really heavy thump to it. It just really depends on the instrument, so you gotta just find an area for it. I mean, that's just something you have to like have a good ear for. So perfect example, I'll use a example. So I have this sound, which you basically just find a good you have the kick. Porter Robinson once told me, with synths, you can compress the living daylights out of synths and just lift it. You can play them as loud as you can, and still it still won't like overclash like the music. But the 808s and kicks are really, really important. Everything has to fit really well with the BPM, with the swing of things. 808s, it's a big part of the track to me. So you really have to sit down and just, sometimes I sit for hours and hours just messing with one kick just until it sounds perfect. I mean, I've seen sessions where Kanye West is in the studio and he's had like 12 different master mixes, 12 different kicks, 12 different 808s. And, you know, these are the guys I look up to. So I really sat down and just tried to really learn how to, you know, 808s, it's all volume, all EQing. The final outcome of how I'm gonna take out all the other sounds out so you can actually hear the 808. I'll keep the snare so you can find the groove. But those tips and tricks work with anything you're making, you know? It's all about volume, EQing, and really finding that 808 that matches with that the sound that you have in the drop or the track or, you know, whatever you're using that kick for. So that's how I make my 808s, using my Razer blade.